All right, well, today we are restoring headlight buckets. Got them sandblasted at CEP and put a bunch of coats of high filler primer on and just sprayed them with flat black. We'll do another couple coats. And I had this hardware soaking in the a vinegar bath just to kind of get some of the corrosion and stuff off of it. Anyway, I had 3 buckets and I think I've got enough good parts from those 3 buckets to kind of put 2 headlights together. As far as I can tell, there's left and right. There's 2 different sides. So I've got that figured out. I had to patch a couple holes. They're pretty thin. But yeah, so I should have shown you what they look well. Where's the other one? I think I threw it away. Anyway, they're pretty rusty, but they looked really good after sandblasting. So we'll see how they go together. All right, so I got this reassembled to a certain extent. So I dismantled, I had to grind all these off. These were aluminum rivets holding these into the pan. And what I found is working quite nicely is 3/16, 5 mil diameter, 1/8 inch long. And then what I'll do is I put a washer over it. And then that clamps down on there and gets it all in there good. So I'm putting these back together the way I took a picture before I took them apart. So hopefully that's correct. But yeah, I think it's should work okay, hopefully. And we'll see, I guess, when I go to try to put them in the car. Okay, I got this reassembled. Let the paint dry. The 2 springs on either side of those. So what I did is I loosened these up as much as I could, just to kind of create a gap. And then I used this handle end over here, so I had room to engage the springs. But as you put more and more springs on, there's 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 springs. As you put more springs on, it gets stiffer and stiffer. So yeah, I caught my finger in there. It's pretty nasty. But anyway, got it all put together. We'll see how long the springs last. Some are better than others, but I'm not sure if I can get new ones. So this will have to do. So I guess I'll get that assembled, and then yeah, go from there. Maybe I can do a time lapse. All right, these are all restored. I even chased through these threads with tap just to make sure everything fit nice. I can't really install them in the car until I get the wiring harness in, so I can run the wiring through the hole in the grommet. So they are ready to go. As you'll see in the hyperlapse, one of those springs broke. I'm gonna have to see if I can order a few more springs. If not, I'll have to make do with what's here. But yeah, it's kind of a challenge swapping those springs. So if we have to, we will, if I can find some new ones. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to give it with what we got. But yeah, that's the headlight restoration on a 67 Amazon. So we'll see how the rest of this goes. I'm planning on taking the transmission apart here now. I've got part of it taken apart already. It's the M41. I gotta figure out, I think it's the D-type overdrive. I gotta make sure it's not a J-type but a D-type before I start ordering parts. But I want to kind of tear into this thing and see what's worn out before just ordering everything. So that's my next thing this afternoon, is tearing that apart and figuring out if that's a D-type or J-type. I believe you tell by the activating solenoid on the passenger side is specific to one of them. I got to figure that out. So that's what we're gonna do, and then yeah, maybe I'll include some footage of this tore apart. I'm gonna not include the entire teardown. There's a lot of videos already on that. Plus it'd be way long and comical. I don't know, maybe I could do I was going to record it just so I know exactly, I have record of how it's put together and how it came apart. So I might do that, but I doubt maybe if I can speed it up at like 4 times, I'll put it in, but otherwise I won't. Here's a reference for what these headlights look like before restoring them. Pretty rusty. This bass bucket is one of the better ones. This was not. That's what holds the bulb. This bucket was actually pretty good, but the problem is someone decided they needed another hole in it. So this was probably the best outer bucket except for that hole. And rather than patch up that massive hole, I just stripped it apart. But yeah, decent improvement. But yeah, that's kind of where I started, but worse, I guess. So what I did is I took these all apart, got them sandblasted at CEP here in Lethbridge, Alberta, and then my little tiny one just didn't do it fast enough. I would have been doing it all day. And my compressor doesn't have enough volume to go that long, so CEP sandblasted them, and then I was able to put them back together. They had them done in like a half hour, so it's totally worth it. But yeah, looks way better. So I had the ingenious idea of recording the teardown of my transmission, but it turned out to not be so ingenious because the teardown was out of frame. So now I've got this apart, and I'm gonna have to rely on videos on the internet to basically put it back together. It's taken off in order and sequence, but yeah, anyway, I gotta figure that out. But overall, it wasn't that worn out. There was this synchro mesh here had a little crack in it, and then these little brass wear items were a little worn out, and there is a bit of wear on the accessory shaft that goes through here, that's in the bottom of this. So I got those replacement parts. Everything else though is actually pretty good. Like the springs are good. The dogs, these are the dogs, they're good. So generally speaking, it was actually in really good shape. I'm just not 100% certain where all the metal filings came from on the plug that's down there. Unless it was rebuilt recently, which is possible. But yeah. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. I am gonna get where I like the reverse light lockout. That sensor's getting plugged. I got a new one of those, and I got a new 4th gear overdrive light. And some of these needle bearings were worn out, so I'm replacing all of those as well. But the main bearings were really good, so yeah, didn't need everything done on it, which is awesome. So I'll have to get this all cleaned up and put it back together once the parts get here. But yeah, we'll put this back together, and then I'll have to dive into the overdrive afterwards. Hopefully it's in as decent a shape as this was. But yeah, promising. But anyway, that's all we did this week. I ended up going mountain biking in the pass yesterday at Pass Powder Keg, which they just built some new trails and stuff, so that was fun. So we'll get this taken care of, get this video up, and yeah, hopefully next video might be a transmission rebuild. So cross your fingers and hopefully we can get that done. I am pretty happy with how these lights turned out though. So once we get the wiring harness, I also found, I ordered a grommet kit, which came with the grommets for this. And there's progress being made on the engine as well. So at some point we should have a motor in here. And then, yeah, I'm gonna have to put this on its wheels, rolling chassis style, tighten up all the suspension once it's got some weight on it, and start assembling. Also got a gas tank, because the gas tank I was trying to refurbish just was really rough on the inside. So gas tank's coming, and then I can run fuel lines and everything else, and then should be in good shape. But yeah, that's catch up for this week.